On this episode of Blending Bourbon, be sure to join myself, David Mark Young, and Dixon Dedman as we talk about building a bourbon brand as well as the culture behind that brand.
Blending Bourbon is the podcast that takes you beyond the barrel and behind the scenes of the whiskey industry with master blenders Dixon Dedman and David Mark Young.
Welcome to another episode of Blending Bourbon, a podcast sponsored by Golden Sheaf. I am Dixon Dedman of 2XO Whiskey, joined as always by the Paris Hilton without a sex tape of podcast, Mr. David Mark Young, the big bird to my snuffleupagus. What a day, and you've already had technical difficulties, which really isn't surprising. But other than that, you good?
I am good. Hi, Dixon. Yeah, I seem to be the king of technical difficulties, but we shall power through. We shall prevail.
I think that's what is so remarkable about this is just, like beautiful people like you can get away with so much crap that the rest of us can't. It's like if it were my technical difficulties, they'd be like, well, you sound like crap anyway, and we can't do this episode with you sounding worse. So let's can this thing. But you're having some audio issues, but you're so daggone pretty that it's like, no, we got to go. You did your hair for this. You look good, makeup, all that stuff. It's got to happen.
It has to happen. The show must go on. Absolutely. That's my biggest takeaway from doing all these podcasts is the show must go on. We've increased from, what was it, nine followers to, I don't know, we're getting up there. Our numbers are climbing. I was watching our most previous release prior to trying to get in the podcast mode. And you're a funny guy. I guess I never realized it. You're a funny, I'm just kidding. I'm giving you shit, of course. That's probably the thing people comment the most about is just how Dixon is so naturally funny. And
yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
No, because at home, it's generally, God, you're annoying.
Well, your humor is appreciated on the Blending Bourbon podcast. I appreciate it. That's why I don't take much of anything you say serious, especially the hair comments and all the. I'm just kidding, of course. I can't even say that without cracking a smile. That's my lack of humor. I try to be funny and can't even get myself.
Somehow
to laugh.
you were trying to make a dig at me, but it came back around to just how attractive you are. So you just kind of make the points for me. You're a beautiful man. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Let's agree to disagree on that one, but I appreciate it.
Well, sorry. I don't know what, how these things happen. Like today was a great day. It was another great day. I had a list of things I needed to do. It was a long day, busy day, a lot of stuff. And it's amazing how, like one call or one whatever can just, I don't know. I feel like,
consume, derail.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm grumpy today. I'm just grumpy today, David.
Are you?
Yeah, looking at you and your man beauty helps me out a little bit, but
I'm glad I can help.
Yeah,
drink some whiskey. It's very therapeutic.
I'm afraid I have a little bit over there, but because I always feel like I need to have some. But I'm afraid that right now, if I go down that road, it's going to be an ugly evening.
Okay, yeah, we definitely don't want to derail the evening. Now the
No.
podcast, we can go off the rails.
I got to coach 9-year-old basketball later on tonight. Like I can't.
Well, there you go. That's a different hat. So yeah, you want to be in prime shape for that. So I get it. But so I will drink for you and for myself.
Appreciate that.
Cheers to you. Cheers to me.
Gosh, it even looks good drinking. You know what? I bet you'd look good even drinking out of a straw. You ever like watch somebody drink out of a straw? There's no cool way to drink out of a straw, but I bet you could figure it out.
I don't know. I'm anti-straw. I don't use straws.
Well, that's because you feel like it affects your sex appeal. But I'm just saying, if anybody could pull off drinking out of a straw, my guess is it would be you.
Oh, jeez. I appreciate the compliments. There's a debate going on right now out in viewer land as to who's got the better hair, who's got the better everything. I don't know. I feel a little competitive. I feel like I had to brush up my game a little bit. The one thing I can't top is the humor. I don't even know.
I don't know what you're talking about. I looked at an episode that we did a few back, and I don't know why anybody didn't say, "Hey, Dixon, you have one hell of a case of bedhead going." Like I look like, I literally look like. I mean, and I don't know how anybody could say, like, if there's a competition, is Dixon's hair worse or David's hair better? It's not who has better hair. It's like, I don't know.
Well, maybe you must not have seen then. Somebody did comment, we had Colin Spolman from Kings County Distillery, and Colin, he did have some bedhead going on. It was stylishly bedheadish, but it was had a lot of character to it. And so someone, I think it was a couple episodes later, someone suggested that little Colin rubbed off on a little bit of Dixon. So
yeah, I think
maybe he picked up on your sense of humor, and you got some of the hair.
That episode, I definitely had a little DGAF going in terms of whatever. Look,
it looked good.
We were. I was going back through some of the stuff we talked about, and maybe. I was just. To be fair, a little backstory here. I don't do a lot of the consulting, and I don't think I ever really did much consulting. I would just, like, people would call me and I would give them my unsolicited opinion, whether they liked it or not. And probably a lot of bad information. Probably a lot of just me, just spouting off whatever came into my tiny pea brain or whatever. And then you and I had some conversations about, what's next for Golden Sheaf. I was sharing with you what was going on with 2XO, where we're going with 2XO, how we're trying to build this out as a bigger brand than just these limited releases. It's all part of a larger overarching program, and
right.
And then I did this podcast, this interview podcast. This guy's freaking hysterical. Instagram, I think it's 5 Drinks or Midnight. And his name's Tim McKee, super cool guy. And he basically, you send him 5 samples, and with each sample, he asks you a question. And generally it is you either finish the 5 drinks or it gets to midnight, and then it all gets whatever. But one of the, and it's cool because he does his research and he looks into things, and really, they're not like silly. They're not silly questions. They're really thought-provoking questions. And so he asked me this question, one of the questions, and then, you know, I really took that conversation and the people who have called me to talk about what they're trying to do. Like I oftentimes ask that same question, you know, to people who are saying, hey, I'm thinking about starting a brand. I'm thinking about getting into this. I'm thinking about doing this. I want to do this. And generally speaking, like, yeah, is launching a brand, is putting a bottle out there, is getting buying some whiskey, getting a label approved, putting some liquid in a bottle. Is that cool? Hell yeah, that's cool. That is one of the coolest things I've ever done. Mm-hmm. Sharing it with people, having, you know, getting that feedback, you know, just being, you know, it's awesome. It's amazing. You know, like there's a high that comes with it. Like it's just, and I can only imagine what, if you're a musician and you write a song and you record a song, and what it's like the first time you hear your song played on the radio, or if you're an artist and you do something and it gets picked up by a gallery, and the first time you walk into a gallery and see your art on the wall, or, you know, and if you're an architect and your building gets built, or what, like, I know, like, I'm probably missing a million of those, but
right.
There's, you know, the one question that I always find very interesting to ask and to get people's feedback on is, after that, like after you know, what's next, and where are you going next, and what is it you hope to accomplish? What is it that you hope your brand to be? What is it, you know, what's the association with your brand that you hope consumers and the general public, you know, what's the perception you want of your brand? I mean, I go as far as to ask people, like, what are you doing? Is this, I want to build something so in 10 years, Pernod Ricard buys it for $1 gajillion, or is it, I want to build something that, you know, pays my bills, but that I can grow and develop. I want to do something that, you know, becomes a foundational component of the community I'm in. And I want to turn this over to my kid. I want to, you know, it's like, it's just, you know, it's a little bit different, I guess, than, you know, we were talking about this. It's like, if you're an athlete, right? If you're a professional athlete, if you're a great high school running back, what do you want to do? You want to go to college? You want to play well in college? You want to go to the NFL? You want to maximize your production? And at a certain point, you know, the NFL is going to say, hey, we got younger, faster, and healthier. And so you leave, and you hopefully have invested with the right people, and you got some money, and you can provide for your family or whatever. Yeah. But that's different than building a brand, like a brand and an entity, right? Like right. Building Golden Sheaf. And so you and I were talking about, we had that conversation. We've talked about it on here before. Own your backyard, be the pride of Nebraska, do your thing. Like, you know, and you're in the midst of discussing expansion and growth and moving into other markets. And, you know, I'm kind of in the same brand building mode and brand building concept. And it's kind of, you know, I think to be successful, and truth be told, one of the reasons why I made the moves that I did years ago, or not that long ago, but was because, the brand objectives that I started personally to develop for Kentucky Owl were not on the same path as the brand objectives that, Stoli had. Granted, it was their brand, so they can do what they want. But my personal brand was so closely tied to that I had to be cognizant of that. And I'm very cognizant. I learned a lot from that, and
Sure.
I have I think a lot about what we're doing with 2XO and where that's going and where we're trying to go with that. And like if I were to ask you, like, okay, Golden Sheaf launched in what, 2019?
2020. Yeah.
2020.
Yep.
What's the trajectory? Like, what's the path? What's the plan? Like, how do you come up with that? Like, is that a you thing? Do you bring other people into that? Does it change? Does it change daily? Like you get some great feedback and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're going to take on the world or whatever. Like how do you manage that? I'm asking for a friend, need advice.
Friend. Yeah.
That was a long lead into that question.
It was good though. It gave me time to process and think and work out some of the anxiety of all of it, because it is a big picture. And going back to 2020, it's Golden Sheaf. Golden Sheaf started out as an idea, a concept to revive a legacy, a significant brand from back in the day, and to just to review that. Golden Sheaf was born in 1866 in Omaha, Nebraska. They grew to become the third largest distillery, so they were a big deal. And when I came across the brand, I had a lot of questions. What happened to it? Why doesn't it exist, first of all? And then, started to step back into, the 1900s when it fell by the wayside. And that's pretty much what happened. I was waiting to find that controversial piece of, something that made sense. And to this day, nothing really makes sense other than the founders, the brains behind the operation pivoted because of prohibition. And they had other opportunities in the cattle industry, which is a significant part of Omaha, Nebraska's history as well, economically, culturally, all the things. So I looked at it as an opportunity, an idea, a concept, and then sort of took steps to plant the seeds and just see how things would fare. And admittedly hadn't quite thought about that next juncture. Okay, it succeeds or it fails, or it appears to be a success, or people could do without it. So I think, if you look at numbers, you look at the launch, it was successful. Therefore, let's continue in that direction. And so now we're at the point where it's a strategic evolution versus continuously testing the waters. Where as far as roadmap, we've gone out 3.5 years, as far as what volumes look like and launches, what states, and footprint. And as much of a plan as we have, we still continue to pivot based on hurdles or challenges throughout that journey. So, one thing that we're doing now is we did land a venue. So we're putting together. Matter of fact, I just met earlier with the general contractor, and they've already started to do some of the work on creating a blank canvas for us to build out our venue here in Omaha, Nebraska. There's a lot of things going on right now. They're going at a rapid rate of speed. The other thing is scaling out to other states. So they expect to be in about 3 states here by June, July timeframe, which means ramping up production, increasing volume. So, but if you look at the long-term roadmap that we have currently, and I'll share this with you, that a year ago, someone actually made an offer on the brand, a pretty significant offer, and it was a one-time offer, or that's how it was communicated. Here's your one-time offer, no haggling, going to give it our best shot, and so I respectfully declined. Everything's for sale, but for the right price, as you know. And
is that a little subtle dig? Is that
not a dig? No, not a dig at all. I shouldn't speak for you. No, not a dig.
Yeah, get him in. Go on. It's fine. Pick me when I'm down. I just told you I'd had a rough day.
You might want to get into that whiskey a little bit. Rub some dirt on it, Dixon. It'll be fine.
Yeah, salt in the wound. It's fine.
I, as flattering as it was to receive an offer, and I say everything's for sale for the right price. I speak for myself. I'm not speaking for you or your past or your future.
No, you can't. I'm not independently wealthy like you are.
I'm not independently wealthy.
Yeah, okay.
I just don't have kids at home anymore. That's all.
No, you're rich and good looking. I fucking hate you.
Shit. I'm gonna drink some whiskey.
Yeah. So, all right. Let me ask you this then. And in my mind, I'm thinking about your guy that helps you out there, the big bearded guy,
Tyler.
Yeah. So, here's a question. What is it like if you had to if you had to speak for Tyler? Tyler is a Golden Sheaf diehard. The dude's awesome. The dude has an amazing palate. He's really invested in the brand and I think was first and I don't mean to say fanboy in a bad way, but he was just a big fan of the brand. He was so enthused and enthusiastic that you brought him in to help with some of the stuff you're doing. But let's Tyler. Let's just say not Tyler, but a Tyler, right? What would you want a Tyler to say about Golden Sheaf today, and how that would differ from what a Tyler would say about Golden Sheaf in 2 years, and how that would differ from what a Tyler would say about Golden Sheaf in 5 years? Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because we did actually meet earlier. Well, he was at the venue as we're kicking down walls and specking out the lay of the land. So that's one of the exciting things to me in creating a brand, creating a company is also influencing or creating the culture, right? So what does Golden Sheaf look like, not only as a spirit on the shelf or behind a bar, but what does the company look like, and what's the allure look like, and that, so as we market this out, there's this intentional direction of sophistication and class associated with Golden Sheaf, the brand and the product. We started out at 6, 7, 8-year-old whiskeys. Now we've evolved to even more, 10, 11, 12 year, 13-year-old. And I foresee us plateauing kind of in that space. But that's Golden Sheaf, is sophisticated, mature, smooth, the kind of sipping whiskey. We're not serving up fireball shots at the Super Bowl. This is intended for whatever occasion is special for the consumers, but it's more of a sophisticated, I don't dare say collector item, but something that everybody's got to have, top shelf in their collection or on their bar. And it's not an everyday drinker. It's it's what you make of it, but it's, obviously higher priced, premium product. So today, that's kind of what we've started. That's the path that we've set down. And years from now, let's fast forward 2-3 years in the future, there's definitely, the vision is more of that, but also diversification a little bit within the whiskey realm itself. But we're still going to maintain that high class premium, and even continue to go upwards. We've got some other more aged and higher price, more rare products that we'll be releasing later on this year. As we develop the experience, that is really going, I think the character of the brand, the culture is going to shine through as people experience it within our, what we've built out. So I'm excited because the vision is probably, the vision is far more than the pocketbook can afford at this point, but it's intended to be, educational, for the entry level whiskey drinker, but also for the seasoned whiskey drinker. As far as what goes into our products, what goes into making whiskey overall, and who we collaborate with, our partners.
I'm playing the role of Dr. Phil here. I'm just asking the questions, and I'm totally just putting you on the spot. But when you think about Golden Sheaf and what the Tyler would say, or you're kind of visualizing the development of your brand with the emphasis being on the whiskeys you're using and the kind of perception of the brand from a standpoint of what's in the bottle, right? Like, it's not like you're trying to, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's kind of, your identity is really tied to the components of the whiskey. Is that fair? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. When I think of, let's use Bardstown Bourbon Company as an example. I always think of that as the true experience. They've got amazing food. They've got, the tour, the visual aesthetics, very impressive operation, the technology, all the things. For at least the foreseeable future, we want to have a headquarters, a base camp where people can come and experience Golden Sheaf. But it's more focused on the flavors and the different types of whiskey that we put out there. We're producing premium, top shelf whiskeys, so it is absolutely about that. We'll have a little bit of visual into some of the behind the scenes, and there's also the additional component of the customization. So as we build out this experience, there's some emphasis on that, so that as we collaborate with either the private consumers or some of these collaborative partners, folks that buy larger batches, and we will have a hands-on experience for blending and for creating the different batches that we put out, and whether that's commercially or for private consumption.
But it sounds like, for Golden Sheaf, the plan is to really target and build in the very in the sector of like the discerning, knowledgeable whiskey public. Like, you know, it's kind of the, I mean, you're not trying to be a large, like have this like be a bigger part of pop culture. You want to live and exist and I don't know where I'm going with this other than I remember one time I was in Los Angeles, and I guess it's so Los Angeles, right? We went to dinner and then we go to this club. It's like a club. And I mean, we've been over this before. I'm from Kentucky.
Right. Yeah.
There ain't clubs in Kentucky like there are in LA. You know, we go in this club and I mean, I've never seen so many almost naked people in my entire life. And I was like, this is nuts. And you can't hear anybody and you can't talk to anybody and you can't. It was maddening. I was like, this is more like torture than it is entertainment. I hate this. How can I get out of here? But in this club, right, it's all bottle service in this club. You know, and so right next to us in this little booth, there's people coming over, like it's 6 girls, and you know, they're wearing as much as this water bottle is wearing, bringing out a bottle of Casamigos with, you know, dancing and lights on and all this stuff. And next to us is, another group getting a bottle of Ciroc and all that, you know, and the next, you know, is all. And then all of a sudden I see coming out of the back, there are sparklers, there are lights, there are friggin' Roman candles going off. Like the entire, like it parts like the damn Red Sea. And this group of women comes to our table and they've got all this pyrotechnics going and all this stuff. And they're bringing a bottle of Batch 9 Kentucky Owl to our table in this club. And it's and it comes up. And I was like, do you know how far from what I think this brand needs to be and should be in my vision of the brand is to have this served to me in this environment, in this. That scene's for a lot of people. It ain't for me, and it's certainly not for 128 proof whiskey or whatever. But it's just kind of funny to now I'm really much more cognizant about what we're trying to create, what we're trying to do, who we want to be, how we want to be perceived, how you build a brand and how you don't have your consumer base, how you don't lose your consumer base by being somebody that you don't want to be. And to me, you have to think and be so cognizant of the direction you're going and what that's going to mean in terms of the perception of, what you're doing, what you're creating, and what you're building. And, I don't know. I guess I've been much more sensitive to that in talking to people who bring me these things, because the club scene is great, but that's not where I want to be. And I'm always trying to, I mean, maybe bad example, but
it's a great example. It's absolutely a great example. And same thing. And I think that's where the vision of this tasting room or, for lack of a better term, tasting room that we're building out, it's definitely not going to be a nightclub. It's not even going to be a bar. It's going to be more of a lounge, a space where I liken it to you go girl, you go. I liken it to a coffee shop, to where you can, come in and drink your coffee, sit down, camp out, do some work. But come in and sip whiskey, if a lounge, kind of a cigar lounge without cigars.
Free Wi-Fi?
Free Wi-Fi, of course. Yeah, absolutely. With every ounce you purchase, you get an upgrade to the next tier. But it'll be a combined space where we're also going to do some education. We're going to offer, whiskey 101 classes on up to, mixology. So we'll have, certain cocktails that we mix with Golden Sheaf. And then tastings, to have private. This is one of the trending things in whiskey, and you see all these new venues that are opening up. People are throwing axes, or they're painting and drinking wine, or they're all of these different experiences. Well, this is an experience where you can go and you can taste whiskey, you can learn about it, you can learn how to drink and enjoy whiskey, but also hang out and in an environment where we'll have get your hair done, get your nails done, all the things. But no, it's not intended to be a nightclub. Not even, we'll have a little bit of music, maybe even some light plate pair things you can pair with your whiskey. Chocolate, nuts, dried fruit, cheeses, an assortment of those sorts of things. But the ambiance to me is what's most exciting, to be able to set that tone. It's not going to be disco balls and
no, it's awesome. I mean, you need to come back. Have you seen like what the Carters did with their space in Louisville?
I did. Well, not in person. I just recently saw some posts. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's next level, and it's just such a cool space that people take ownership of. They're like, yeah, I'm a member of that place. Like that kind of thing. I get what you're talking about.
Well, and I love that thing. And you said member, and you reminded me, I wanted to pimp my Bourbon Capital Guild garb. That's a group that I'm part of in Kentucky, and got in at the ground floor level, one of the founding members, and they've since then opened it up. And but it's part of the culture, right? And that's incorporated into this, is to be part of that culture, and to even have kind of the exclusive. We'll have a speakeasy for the VIP levels in the back. Access to some of the more exclusive whiskeys that we'll have on hand, and some of the more exclusive events that we'll have. So I love that. I love exclusivity. I love being a part of things, seeing behind the scenes, and so that's one thing that I'm excited about, is to be able to influence that culture of what we're trying to put out there as far as Golden Sheaf goes. Of course, that's up to the consumers, how they enjoy, or how they consume that. But
no, I mean, long and short of it is, the way you're answering that question, or all these questions, or maybe none of the questions, is basically like, you're trying to build a Golden Sheaf community within the community, and you're kind of being targeted about that community, which is, brilliant in the way you're thinking about it. I think anyway, it's not like, oh yeah, we're just gonna create this for the masses and see who takes hold. It's like, no, we're going to be very strategic in creating a premium product that targets a certain type of consumer, and as we build it out, we're going to stay kind of on that level across markets that we that we enter into. And I think I again, this goes back to like, I just think a lot of the people that come to me, and I say that as if I'm some guru or wizard, and I'm the furthest thing from that, but I always want to ask people, like, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to build something to flip it? Are you trying to build something to get rich? Are you trying to build something that has staying power? Are you just, and you really have to be targeted in how you, if you really are in it for the long haul, you have to be targeted in how you build your program. I think anyway. And,
I agree.
So
I
I
agree.
have
I agree 100%.
one more question for you.
I have one more answer.
Golden Sheaf. Would you rather
Here we go.
sell, let's say you decided to go to Chicago. You're going to distribute in Chicago. And you send, give me a number. How many cases? Just make up a number.
5,000.
5,000 cases Chicago. Would you rather visit Chicago in 2 months and see Golden Sheaf on the shelves, or would you rather go to Chicago and have the shelves completely empty of Golden Sheaf?
That's a tough one. I would say the shelves. I would rather see. Oh boy, that's really tough because I'm experiencing this right now. I would rather see empty shelves with a lot of buzz out in the communities talking about it, wanting more, wanting the next release. But I struggle with that because when I walk in and I see empty shelves, there's nothing there to draw people in. And so I think, I've always said Golden Sheaf will not be a household brand. We're not trying to be in every corner store. We're not trying to be, we do want to be on the shelves in upscale chop houses and restaurants. And I love it when I walk into a store and I see encased in glass all of the unicorns that I want and Golden Sheaf right in the middle of it. And, you see a few bottles there, but empty shelves.
But then you want them to sell. So, I mean, chicken and egg.
Yep, it really is. Yeah. But if I'm limited to one choice, that's it. And that's what I'm going through now. I just yesterday, I spent a lot of time in stores and comparing prices and aesthetics of bottles and bottle placement, all the things. I send you every time I come across 2X, in my travels, come across 2XO, send you pictures and sightings out in the wild. So I don't know. I don't even know that there's a happy medium because
it's a hard question to answer. I was just messing with
it is. The last thing I want to see is a shelf full of dusty bottles.
Right. No,
I can tell you that for sure.
Fair. Well,
how about you?
I don't know if we accomplished anything other than me talking a lot and asking you questions that you're like, that son of a bitch put me on the spot, but
I love it. That's our viewers they love to hear you talk, Dixon. They absolutely do.
Yeah, all 12 of them.
We are doing pretty good. We're lining people up to have on the show. By the way, the requests have been put out. Your call to action has been responded to. We've got an overwhelming response. People that are volunteering.
I say we bring them on. Let's make it happen.
Let's bring them all on. But we will absolutely very soon. And so, having said that, keep the comments coming. Keep the support. We want you to hear what you want to hear. Like, share, subscribe, comment. In topics too, if you have topics that you want to hear. We've got a long list of topics, so we've got to go through that and actually start responding to a lot of these comments and topic suggestions.
Yeah, we've got a long list of topics and we got a long list of opinions. So just fire away. Well, until next time, my friend.
Cheers to you.
I got to go back to work.
Go coach some baseball or basketball, I should say.
This is a good little break. No, awesome.
Yeah.
Be well, man. Talk to you soon.
You too. Sounds good. Cheers.